With much talk around the Philadelphia 76ers franchise revolving around Ben Simmons and his endless drama, we figured that the star, who has not burned any bridges with his team, should get some more respect. And that man is Joel Embiid. He has become not only one of the funniest and most likable players due to his various hijinks and interviews and social media, but he is an absolute monster on the court. Hey, before we get to the video, if you haven't already subscribed to our Trade Hoops channel, then please subscribe it so that you can get all the latest notification of our videos. So let's start with today's video. He has posted incredible numbers each season during his 5 seasons in the NBA. However, the 27-year-old perhaps had his best season yet last year. He averaged 28.5 points per game, 10.6 rebounds per game, 1.4 blocks per game, and even 1 steal per game from the center position. He also posted as high as the 3-point percentage of his career with a mark of .377. Something else that is impressive about his game is that he can shoot free throws even as a big man, which we know is a rare quality for his career, and Joel is just above an 80% shooter from the line. And yet, with Simmons requesting to be traded and holding out a training camp, the only time that people are mentioning Embiid is in his relationship with a controversial point guard. But he deserves some respect. This guy's an MVP candidate who can lead the Sixers to a championship if Philly can spin a deal to bring in one more star to join forces with him and Tobias Harris. So today, we wanted to discuss times that Joel Embiid disrespected his opponents, and we will be looking at times where Embiid dominated the competition. Now, a few seasons ago, Embiid took a page out of LeBron James's book in a game against LeBron, and the Cavaliers' James had a seemingly open look at a layup early in the first quarter. But similarly to how LeBron chased down Andre Iguodala in the finals against the Warriors and blocked his shot, Embiid came out of nowhere to deny James at the basket. LeBron James is in Miami. It was a tremendous showing of athleticism by the big man and demonstrated his basketball intelligence to avoid a goaltending call as well. Anytime you can block the king, you are doing something right. On the first possession of a contest against the Houston Rockets, and Embiid decided to give his 6 or some early momentum with a fellow big man named guarding him one-on-one to Joel charge into the lane and threw a filthy left-handed power dunk over the Rocket center. The game was at home and the crowd was fired up after the play, and Embiid even earned a little shove from Rockets superstar James Harden as he was running back up the floor following the dunk. Let's just say that was not the only time to Harden and Embiid cross paths, but there will be more on that one later. In the second quarter of a matchup against the Washington Wizards, Embiid was T-ed again. He caught a pass from Ben Simmons's batch's man downturn and threw down a vicious dunk while posterizing a defender and have 4 Wizards draped around. Although the dunk was incredibly difficult to perform, Joel made it look easy and even had the announcer exclaiming "Joel is unleashed." Those previous dunks that we discussed were more on the ferocious and aggressive side of things. But those following throwdown had Embiid been breaking out the fancier side of his game. Facing the Brooklyn Nets, Embiid had the balls to the top of the key. After dropping defender Jared Dudley, he found himself with a free look at the hoop. Instead of going for a basic dunk, Joel threw the ball off the backboard to himself and dunked it home for a self alley-oop. The play was incredible and will always be in the top NBA dunks of all time. Now, once again in a game against the Washington Wizards, Embiid showcased both his defensive and offensive talent in a matter of seconds. Wizards guard Frazier was driving into the lane looking for a layup. However, Embiid had other plans as he sent him packing with a brutal rejection and sent the ball right into the hands of the Simmons and EMBIID both hustled back and found themselves with a 2-on-1 fast break opportunity. Simmons flipped the ball over to Embiid, who threw down the dunk with no contest whatsoever. He completely humiliated the Wizards on both sides of the floor in less than a few seconds. What a play. The next play is one of the coolest ones you are going to see. Embiid was wearing a protective mask over the top of his face to protect against a previously suffered facial injury. That is already scary enough for defenders. But what Embiid did the Boston Celtics opponent Aaron Baines with a mask on probably made Baines wish that he stayed at home for this one. On a fast break with Simmons once again, Ben made a swift no-look pass to Embiid, who was right in the middle of the key with plenty of momentum carrying him towards the basket. Joel caught the pass and put Baines on a poster with an incredible dunk over the selfish defender. The play sent Baines to the floor inside and being celebrating the amazing move, mask and all. This is one more for all-time highlight reels as well, and certainly meets our standards of disrespect. Arguably the most disrespectful scenario is the next, facing the Utah Jazz star Donovan Mitchell at home. The Jazz had the ball while trailing in the fourth quarter. Mitchell drove past the perimeter defender only to be met by the tremendous rim protection of Embiid. Naturally, Joel swatted, Mitchell shot away and sent him falling to the floor. However, Embiid was not ready to let it stop at that. He then stared down the Utah star, which Mitchell took exception to and ended up chasing Embiid down and shoved him to the floor. But it did not bother Joel, who got right back up with a huge smile on his face and started pumping up the home crowd, who only got louder and louder, as nice and funny of a guy as he seems. Embiid has the ability to get under any opponent's skin. In a competitive game with the Houston Rockets from a couple of years back, James Harden was taking the ball off the court. He was preparing to do a one-on-one with a perimeter defender, but Embiid did not want Harden to get comfortable in isolation. So he came to help double-team Harden. But Embiid was unable to slow his momentum down and ended up bumping Harden, which led to a foul. The disrespect occurred while James was still on the floor. Embiid stood right over him and bumped him with his knee naturally hard and took exception to this, and the two stars had to be separated at midcourt. This was just another example of a Joel Embiid attempting to frustrate an opponent. Later, in the quarter, things only got worse for Harden, with under 10 seconds remaining before halftime. He was on a fast break trying to end the first half on a good note, but Embiid chased him down and blocked his shot in extremely emphatic manner, and Embiid stared him down and appeared to have hadn't said something to him. And it was certainly no love lost between Harden and Embiid. Okay, so much of what we have discussed has been resolved around dunks and blocks. But Embiid has some nice post moves as well and can perform those moves and clutch time. And a one-point game late in the fourth quarter versus the Lakers, and Embiid found himself facing strong defense in the post. The Sixers' big man could have passed it or tried to force a dunk, but instead, he patiently worked down his defenders with a couple of more moves, which somewhat resembled the collage one dream shakes and being spun on his pivot foot multiple times and had the defender basically guessing where he was going to end up. After a couple of seconds, he finally put up a finger roll layup and drew a foul shot. Was not only impressive but also was a turning point in the game. And that is going to do it for today's video. What is your opinion on Joel Embiid? Is he the best center in the league? What was your favorite NBA highlight? Let me know in the comment section. To stay up to date with my latest videos and latest NBA news, make sure to subscribe to the Trade Hoops YouTube channel by clicking the red subscribe button. Thank you for watching. If you like watching our video, then please don't forget to like and share and obviously subscribe.